Clayton and Paula are actually in the studio this morning to talk about Arista Home Healthcare. Their commercial just happens to come up for a live spot here in the morning. Now you can get a hold of them at 419-754-1897 or online at aristahc.com. Some of what we're going to talk about in the next half hour or so is some of what I'm going to tell you right now, that they can provide you with personalized in-home care. All right, when you have a serious operation or an accident or someone that you need to care for with developmental disabilities or early dementia, all of those kind of things, they will make sure that someone comes to your house and cares for you right then and there. Because seriously, being in the comfort of your own home is worth everything. When I had my trouble in the hospital a couple of months ago, just getting home made me feel 100% better. And having someone there to provide assistance with your daily activities and personal care, and remind you of your medicines and appointments and things like that is invaluable. Family comes first with Arista Home Care Solutions. Go to aristahc.com. Guys, thanks a lot for coming in this morning. Appreciate it.
Good morning, Fred. Thanks for having us.
That's Paula.
Good morning, Fred. Thanks for having us.
Hold on, I don't have you turned on. There we go. All right, I put you on mic 4 instead of mic 3. All right, and that's Clayton.
Good morning, Fred.
So let's start from the beginning, because when I do the live spots, I always talk about what you do, the service that you provide. But I don't think we've spoken for a while about how you actually got started. So how you two got together to get this company going, because one of you was already in the field, right?
Right, I was working in healthcare, yes.
Okay, and what was your job back then in healthcare?
A certified medical assistant. I was working for a surgical practice.
All right. Did you see something that like a little light bulb went up over your head and you said, you know what, there's a need for this, I think I can do that?
No, actually it was very personal. We were dealing with my mom's health as it declined as she was aging.
Mm-hmm.
And when she needed home health care, this was a number of years before we started our company, so we were using another agency, and frankly, we were disappointed with.
So you were in the situation that a lot of your clients are in. You have somebody who's a loved one in the family who's dealing either with just simple aging or dementia or any number of things, and you can't be there because you got a job. He can't be there because he's got a job, but somebody needs to be there, and you weren't happy with who you had.
No, I was so excited. I thought, oh, finally, some peace of mind.
Yeah.
I can go to work without worrying about my phone ringing.
Mm-hmm.
But the phone was still ringing because sometimes the caregiver wouldn't show up at mom's house.
Oh no.
Yeah.
And so mom was, and see, and that's just horrible because mom is sitting at home and she knows there's somebody supposed to be there to care for. She's got things she needs to have done, which is why I think it's so cool that that you guys provide the in-home care. Did you see a change in your mom's attitude at all when she actually was able to stay home and have someone care for her?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and she, grew to enjoy the company of the caregivers, which is terrific. That's what we want, a relationship.
Yeah, and that's really key to getting somebody better too, is having that relationship. Know that they're going to actually show up on time. Because I know we've talked about this before on the air. Your people show up when they're supposed to show up, don't they?
Absolutely, yes. We guarantee our shifts.
Okay.
And we have on-call staff that make sure that happens.
Yeah. Why is that so important?
Well, as I said, with what I went through with my mom, having to leave work early, that's pretty hard to do when you work in a doctor's office.
Yeah.
And I don't want any families that we care for to have to do that. That maybe they have to call off sick because a caregiver doesn't show up. We don't want that.
So you've got people 24/7 that can handle all of this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, we pay for what we call on-call schedulers, and they're familiar with all the different clients and the staff, and they can basically fill, call off, or they'll go themselves.
Now, when they get to the home, what exactly? Because when I do the live spot, I always say, well, they can do personal things and get you to your doctor's appointment and all that kind of stuff. What would you say are the duties of anybody who's working for you when they go to someone's home?
Well, we have different components of care, wellness care, which could be, medication reminders, helping with, safe showering, dressing, we also have companion care, just spending the time with them, like Paula alluded to with her own mother, just having a friend, somebody that becomes your friend.
Somebody to watch Wheel of Fortune with?
Exactly. Our caregivers have to have a diverse range of things to watch, because the clients, they really vary. Some of them watch game shows, some of them watch Hallmark Channel.
Oh, man.
Some of them listen to Fred Lefebvre on WSPD.
Oh, that's horrible. So how tough is it, and how much time do you spend matching up the right caregiver with the person who needs the help?
Well, first there's the in-home assessment that I personally do for all of our private pay and DODD clients.
Okay.
And at that assessment, I get to know the family and the client, learn what their expectations are and how we can meet those needs. And then we look at caregivers that have those capabilities, whether they're specially trained in dementia or working with individuals with disabilities. Perhaps the client has a cat, but we can't send a caregiver who has an allergy. So we know all of those things about our caregivers. So
I really like that idea. I mean, you like have a cadre of people that you can choose from for whatever situation you happen to be going in, right?
Correct.
So what kind of situations are those? Now, Paula mentioned dementia, so you do care for dementia patients. Who else do you care for on a regular basis?
One of the most common things is people who are at fall risk. They can't be left at home alone, or at least not for long periods of time, and particularly when they're doing their activities of daily living, like showering and getting dressed. Those are the times when people are most susceptible to fall. Yeah,
I've kind of gone through that just recently with my brother, who had a problem with falling down, losing his balance and stuff. And I know that they used Arista Home Care Solutions for some of that. And he's much better now, thankfully. He's able to get around with his walker and everything. But sometimes it's just a short-term solution, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's in medical care in general, the idea is help people heal and get better. Of course, when you're dealing with an elderly population, there has to be a reasonable expectation for how much better you're going to be. I mean, you're not going to take a 78-year-old person and turn them into a 40-year-old. Watch it with the 78-year-old stuff, because I'm very, very close to that. That's on the young end of the people we take care of in many cases. So.
Well, yeah, and the population, we know that our life expectancy has grown. People are we see people in 90s all the time now. And they just can't do the things that they would like to do. So it isn't necessarily always a medical condition, is it?
No. Often it's companionship or chronic illnesses. So yeah, medical conditions, but things like COPD or congestive heart failure, where it's not just an event like a fall, but these are chronic long-term conditions. And we have patients that we've taken care of for years due to that.
Okay, see, I didn't realize that things like COPD and
diabetes,
those kind of things fell under it. Okay. All right, if you have questions, get them on the phone, 419-214-1370, Fred at WSPD.com. If you want to get a hold of me that way. Good stuff. Clayton and Paula Birney are in the studio. They are the founders, owners of Arista Home Care Solutions at aristahc.com. If you go up to their website, aristahc.com, you'll find all the information that you're looking for. There's actually a little client intake form right here, information about home health, skilled nursing, therapy. You get to meet the staff, what in-home care means for developmental disabilities, dementia patients, all that kind of stuff. Something called Orange Transport. We kind of touched on this last time. What is the Orange Transport?
That's our transportation division, handicapped accessible transportation.
Okay.
So the vans have either lifts or ramps. So it's really meant for people in wheelchairs who cannot safely transfer into a regular car.
Okay.
So we'll go right into their house, get them into the wheelchair, take them to the doctor's appointment. They never have to get out of their wheelchair when they use our transportation.
That's a really nice way to do it. That's excellent, because that can be pretty tough. on people. Now, I got a couple of messages from Rev Mitchell, who said, this is a service that he probably could have used for his father-in-law, who is going in dealing with dementia right now. And also, one of the things that he ran into when he was a police officer is a call he responded to for a woman who had fallen and had been on the floor for like 48 hours. So I'm wondering, how do you know when somebody needs that care? I mean, because you're kind of close to the situation. Maybe you see mom or dad slipping a little bit, but they seem to be okay. When do you make that call? How do you make that decision that you need to call Arista and have somebody come in and be with them on time, all the time?
Right. Yeah, there's signs that you can look for when you're visiting, even if you're only there, especially with the holidays coming up. A lot of people are going to see their parents in person for the first time in maybe a few months.
Yeah.
They've just been doing those phone calls. So things to look for are piles of unopened mail. Walk, if they're still driving, walk around the car and see if there's any scratches or dents.
I never thought of that.
Right. If you get a chance to see them unclothed, you might look for bruises. That might be a sign that they've fallen, but they're not going to tell anyone they've fallen.
No, that's the thing. And we went through the same thing when I was dealing with my mother-in-law who had dementia. Dad tried to cover it up, which is another, serious problem, because one of the partners will try to keep it a secret, and then that person is putting themselves at risk also. And maybe they just need a hand for a few hours, a day, a couple times a week. You can handle that, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we can do, we do as little as 2-hour shift once a week. It's just, we need the consistency in order to staff it. But if somebody does a 2-hour shift once a week, I realistically don't think a 2-hour shift once a week makes sense. 3 times a week makes sense, because that's how much people need to have shower systems.
Sure.
But a couple other things I was thinking about too, that the smell. When you walk into a house, and I went through this personally with my own mother, you walk into the house and you start to pick up odors that shouldn't be there. It just means that they're not able to do their laundry, they're not able to do their personal care the way they had traditionally done.
So you see these signs, you visit mom and dad the holiday season, and you see these signs. Do I contact you guys first, or is there an easy way to sit down and talk to mom or dad about the fact that they need help? Because like Paula said, they aren't going to admit it right away.
Right. Yeah. So I have a couple of blog articles on our website, not only about the signs to look for, but how to talk to an aging parent. And you want to approach it in that getting them home care is for your personal peace of mind. Maybe you don't really need this right now, mom or dad, or you don't think you need it, but it would make me feel better knowing that somebody was here with you when I was at work and when I can't be here.
Yeah. And I've heard that before, that they're more willing not to accept that themselves, but to make you, because you're their kid, and they want to still protect you some way. So if you feel better, that's good for them, right?
Right. And for some, it's starting off with maybe does somebody do their yard work? So they're used to having somebody come once a week for the yard work. Maybe they have a housekeeper that comes twice a month. So sometimes you have to gradually introduce people into the home, and we can do that with our caregivers too. So I might start with an introduction, and the caregiver might spend a half hour, 40 minutes just sitting and having a conversation, getting to know the family before they actually start doing any care.
So you're really working on building up a relationship with your clients and with the person who's going to be caregiving for them.
Yes, the relationship is so important, Fred.
If you want to, you can call 419-754-1897. You can go online and get all of this information also at aristahc.com. Talk to them about the Orange Transport, which will help get them back and forth to appointments and things, to the personalized care from, well, as Clayton said, just sitting and watching, whatever TV show it is they like to watch. Sometimes just having that body there is important, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And, believe it or not, a lot of folks we take care of, they like to play a game of cards. they have their favorite game, whatever it is, and, you know, are they a board game? I mean, that's still something people do, especially in that generation.
It's that companionship and that relationship that Arista HC is providing. 754-1897 or aristahc.com online if you need more information. Thanks for coming in today, guys. Appreciate it.